listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255, the New Orleans Talk Network.
What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready, because the conversation will be hot, and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app, available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about the New Orleans Talk Network. Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls. We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12 Central Standard Time. I am your host, Charles Stewart, and the co-host by Dr. Anthony Williams. We come your way every morning, Monday morning, Church Without Walls. We want to knock down a wall that's standing in your way. Remember, you are the church. The building that you go to every Sunday morning, that is the Kingdom Hall. We call it the church, but really it's the walls of the church. And we want to knock down every wall that stands in your way. That's our reason for coming into your home, you may be driving, wherever you may be in your office. We want to talk to you and talk about our community, let them know how important it is for us to get involved. As you know, every Monday morning we're in the beautiful studio of the New Orleans Talk Network. So this is your station. This is your opportunity to let your voice be heard. So don't you mess that up. It's for you. And we don't want to waste too much time this morning. We have in the studio with us no other than the one and only, the Honorable Congressman Cedric Richmond. He took time out of his busy schedule to come and be with us today. And we want anytime you get a congressman to your station that he take time out of his busy schedule to come to you, and you able to ask him questions for him to hear you. This is your opportunity. We want also to say, y'all know that he's the president of the Black Caucus, so he's somebody special. He is a man that God has blessed to be a leader all over this country. And there's so much about Cedric Richmond that y'all need to know. I don't even know. And I just want him to right now to come and tell us more about him and what's going on in our country. Congressman Richardson.
Well, let me just thank Reverend Stewart and Dr. Anthony for having me here and for what they do. You know, in our world of public service, some people call it politics, oftentimes we keep our head down and we work, but you need people who really keep the community engaged and informed. So that work that you all do is very, very important, which is why the New Orleans Talk Network is so important. But let me just say, on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus, which I happen to be the chair of right now, we have 48 members. We represent 78 million Americans. But that in itself is what we and who we represent. But what we stand for is also very important. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we fight to improve the lives of our constituents, especially those who are marginalized, those who don't have lobbyists, those who are just working hard every day to keep a roof over their head, clothes on their back and their kids' back, and food on the table. And that's the fight we take. And it comes in the form sometimes of health care, minimum wage, paid family leave, equal pay. Doesn't matter. But what we do is just fight for equality and fairness in a system that is rigged against hardworking people. So with that, we can just have a candid conversation about today's events and the world events. I'll tell you, we lost a true patriot in terms of Senator John McCain. We didn't see eye to eye on a number of issues, but we all know the thumbs down that went around the world when he saved the Affordable Care Act, which is also called Obamacare, because he was the deciding vote. But that policy has actually driven down healthcare costs, made it more accessible to millions of Americans, and has saved lives. So that was a big move. We all know he was a prisoner of war and actually could have came home a little earlier, but would not say things that were untrue. And then after he was a prisoner of war, he ran for office, and he served in either Congress or the U.S. Senate for about 40 years. And so we thank his family for his service, and we honor his legacy in terms of fighting for the United States.
Congressman, everybody remember, and I think we have a clip when he was running against Obama. I think then Obama was senator. And he literally, when this lady, I don't want to call her a racist, just said someone that didn't like Obama, felt that he shouldn't be in the race, when he explained to her, said that Senator Obama is a great man, a great family man, and that they just have a disagreement on policy. But he let her know that he had all the respect in the world for Senator Obama at the time. And I thought that was very courageous of him. He just went out to get vote, but he kept his character.
Right.
And I'm proud of him that he spoke out that way.
You know, and I didn't, and I would encourage all of our listeners today, not only did he have that moment where the woman called President Obama Muslim and went on, and he took the mic from him and said, no, let me stop
right.
you. He's actually a very fine man and a decent person. They just disagree on issues. But more importantly, go watch John McCain's concession speech when he lost to Barack Obama. I will be honest and admit that I was so caught up in President Obama's victory that was the only thing I paid attention to that night. I didn't watch the concession speech because we were too busy celebrating.
Okay.
But now that I've gone back and watched it, it was phenomenal. He talks about the history that's being made for African Americans and how far we've come in terms of gaining rights and other things. So I just want you to, I just want the listeners to go back and watch that, because it was, I think, John McCain at one of his finest hours in terms of speaking and acknowledging the significance of the moment, and he played a role in that.
Congressman, I think we have that clip now. Producer, do we have that clip of John McCain?
Yeah. We're scared. We're scared of an Obama presidency, and I'll tell you why. I'm concerned about someone that cohorts with domestic terrorists such as Ayers.
I have to tell you, he is a decent person and a person that you do not have to be scared as President of the United States. Now, look, I
got to ask you a question. I do not believe in, I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No?
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
I thought, Congressman, that was, he certainly won me over by being a decent human being. Realize, you don't compromise your value, although you're running for a race. You won't vote, but he still was a real man. So that was my respect, remember moment about John McCain.
Yeah, and it may have cost him some actual votes of support, but he defended President Obama on the campaign trail, especially when things were inaccurate. And I'll tell you that in the world of politics and campaigns, that's very rare. Most of the time when someone's disparaging your opponents, you just kind of let them because you're the beneficiary of it.
Right.
But he didn't do that, and I think that is that's remarkable.
Congressman, also, what I know you proud of, to know that at his funeral, from my understanding, he won, I think, President Bush and Obama to speak at his funeral, and not the President of the United States. I mean.
Well, I'll tell you this, and full disclosure, I'm from a funeral home family.
Okay.
So every once in a while, especially now when we have debilitating diseases such as cancer and Alzheimer's and all these others, where you know the end is coming.
Okay.
He had the time and still had the mindset to plan his own funeral.
Okay.
And he wanted to be eulogized by President Bush and President Obama. Both men beat him in presidential races.
Right.
And I think that
shows he's a big man.
I think it says a lot about him. And I think that there's no secret about his disappointment in the Trump presidency or the Trump rhetoric. And so I think he made that decision. But he had a chance to plan out and craft his own memorials. So so I think it's very, very telling that he chose President Obama and President Bush. And look, I think President Obama is going to give a great eulogy. I was there at Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston for the funeral of Reverend Pinckney.
That's when he come out. That's
when he
was
singing a little Amazing Grace. So yeah.
Want to tell our listeners, do you want to get in and you want to talk to Congressman Richardson? Call us. The area code is 563-999-1808. Call us. Let the congressman say hello to him. Get this opportunity regular. I think we have a call on line 1. Go ahead on, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, how you doing?
Richmond. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Oh, just fine. Good to hear your voice.
I have a couple of questions for the congressman.
Okay.
Hi. I've been trying to reach you on numerous occasions, and I've not been able to reach you by email or by phone. We're having a Night Out Against Crime in October, and in June I contacted your office in D.C. to let you know we were trying to get a hold of President Obama. And of course, your people told me that you were working on a bill. I asked them if they needed any help. On several occasions, I've tried to reach you. The problem that I have is, though your people in the office in D.C. asked if I wanted to invite you to come out to the Shrewsbury community, I didn't answer them in a manner in which I should have, because I should have told them that the people in my community don't know you. You've not made yourself available to some of your constituents. You don't come to Shrewsbury. You don't go to Kenner unless it's something that happens immediately, like a death. So my question to you is, since you are running again, are you going to be more available to your constituents? Because these are the people that count. They're the ones that vote for you. Hello?
Yes, I was just giving you a chance to finish.
Okay. And by the way, I'm sorry I did not introduce myself. My name is Gail Scott Gillespie.
Well, look, Gail, thank you for calling. And as much as you would think, the request for President Obama for Night Out Against Crime is not, we fall with them alone, but the truth of the matter is he doesn't have a formal office or a liaison with us anymore. And,
no.
And that's just the place we find ourselves, because he's not the president anymore, and now he's transitioned a little bit into private life, although he's coming back on the field now for the midterms. But for the most part,
right,
he's been dealing with the Presidential Museum and other things. But now he's coming back out. I don't expect him to do many Night Out Against Crime, but it's worth a try. And as far as Shrewsbury and that area, I do go out there, and I think that Pastor Donald Robinson, who I think is doing a great job at Marine Baptist Church, and I saw him just a few days ago. So if you're having trouble communicating with my office, then that's something we need to work on. I do have an office in Gretna. I have one in New Orleans. In Gentilly, I have one in Baton Rouge, and I have one in D.C. But for issues, Shrewsbury and Jefferson Parish, then I would just say call DeShannon in the district office, and you don't have to go through the Washington office to do things in the area, especially not Shrewsbury. It'd make it easier for me and easier for you if you just use the Gretna office.
Okay, hope that answers your question, Ms. Scott. They got other callers. We want to try to get many people that we can in to the Congressman. Also, Ms. Scott, Congressman Richmond had agreed to come on the show once a month, so we have an opportunity to talk to him again. Also, this is starting a communication with him, so whatever the breakdown is, you'll be able to have an opportunity to work it out. So we appreciate it so much for your call, and we're going to work this out. We're one big family
All right,
here.
okay, Charles.
Okay, thank you, baby. Line 2.
Bye-bye.
Call on line 2. Go ahead on caller.
Hello, how are you?
Could you hold on? We have could call if you don't mind. Could you please hold on? We got to take a break because we have to pay the bill to be on air. So give us a break, and we'll be back. I promise you first. You are listening to Church Without Walls, and in the studio is our Honorable Councilman Cedric Richmond.
Listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255, the New Orleans Talk Network.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best of literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there.
We're back. Talk What You Know returns on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. We got a brand new co-host by the name of Bob B. And hey, that's me. Also, we got some new features. We're going to be giving away, have a weekly raffle of prizes. There are multiple ways for you to win, and there's a bevy of prizes. So we need you to come on back, join us on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock for Talk What You Know on the New Orleans Talk Network.
Now, Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Now.
We are back. You are listening to Church Without Walls in the studio of the New Orleans Talk Network. And we're excited about our congressman in the studio this morning. And I promised the caller that he is first, so call on line 2. Go ahead on, caller.
Hello, how are you all?
How are you? Fine.
I'm good. I want to say, my name is Cedric Roy. I want to say to my congressman who I vote for, sometimes I can be critical, but I want to tell you for what you do and how you represent us, thank you. And I would just ask that with your campaign this time, that you consider just taking it back to the streets, because there are a lot of people that want to see you and want to talk to you. And I know once they get into your presence and you explain things to them like you did to me in reference to the governor in front of the Zulu Club, it'll make people get a whole new perspective. So I just want to tell you, thank you for what you do. And if you can criticize someone, you can give them the accolades that they deserve as well. And lastly, sir, I need your help. We have a police, I know you're federal, but I know you can make phone calls. We have a police manpower shortage here in New Orleans that's just unbelievable. I called 911 August 12th, and the police did not respond until last Thursday, August the 23rd. And now I have an arrest warrant out for my arrest. And I dialed 911 twice, and on the second call, August 12th, they said we have a manpower shortage. And thank you. I'll hang up and listen.
Look, Cedric, first of all, thank you for the compliment. And, you and I go back and forth, but I think the good thing is we don't have to always agree on everything. But the thing I take from it the most is that while we're in D.C. working, and I'll tell you this, these times are challenging. We're in D.C. and our heads down now more than ever because every day we're playing whack-a-mole with this president. Every day it's something new. And every time the Mueller investigation gets a little bit closer to home or he's having a bad news day, the first thing he does is decide to play the race card. And we saw it with immigration. And just for the record, when you hear him say no more lottery visas, what he's talking about is the diversity visa, which is the number one way in which people of color, people from Africa, get visas to come to the United States. Without that program, we would have no African immigration into this country. And so don't let him say that it's a lottery system. Everybody is vetted, and they come here as the most prepared Americans as any other country. They come oftentimes speaking several languages, college degrees. They come more advanced than sometimes American children. So, or he'll pivot to the NFL, or he'll pivot just any day, he'll pivot to something else. Let's go back to your original question, which was the police manpower shortage. That's why we're working so hard right now around the country to get the House back, because elections have consequences. And if you remember, we used to have a very significant COPS program and community policing program on the federal level where we gave cities money so that they could hire police officers, so that they could fund police athletic leagues, so that they could do those things in the community that really make a difference and create trust between the police and the community. But without those COPS grants, it becomes a financial burden on the cities, and really one they can't meet, to hire police officers. So with New Orleans now, and I remember some of Mayor Cantrell's platform on police, and she does have a plan to increase our police, but we also have to be honest about the difficulties there. You still have to have recruiting classes. You still have to train them and put them on the streets. Even when you're hiring from other jurisdictions, there's still some training. So we're behind the curve on that, and we may be up to 500 or 600 police officers short of where we need to be. I think it's a crisis. I think the mayor agrees with me, and I'm going to do everything I can to assist her. But part of what we need is to make sure that we take the House back so that we can be ready to reinstitute real funding for police officers all across this country, and not just hiring police officers, but also doing de-escalation training, making sure that it's true community policing, even as we do criminal justice reform. So all of those things are important, but the federal government, we do play an important role with police, and that is we fund a lot of the recruitment training and the pay for police officers. So I look forward to making that one of our issues. And the caller before mentioned that my office said we were working on a bill. We just introduced the Jobs and Justice Act, which is a 1,300-page bill that addresses everything from community policing to minimum wage to health care improvements to all of those things. But you can't govern if you can't win. And as long as Republicans control the House, we will continue to have budgets that underfund community programs, affordable housing, police training, and all of those things. So thank you, Cedric.
Thank you, Cedric, for your call. And we have a call on line 3, and I apologize. I'm getting texts saying that people say they can't get through. We have a new number. We apologize. We'll get this straightened out. Keep on calling. Don't give up on us. Keep on texting me and calling. Call on line 3. Go ahead on, caller.
Good morning. Good morning, Congressman Richmond. I'm sorry.
Richmond.
How you doing?
Hi. I have a question this morning, and my question this morning is, can you tell me how does the fact that President Trump appointing so many federal judges is going to impact our community?
That's a terrific question. And I will remind some people, and I know that a lot of our elders don't need to be reminded, this is close to the period of the end of Reconstruction. Mm-hmm. They put so many judges on the bench that it took us generations to recover from bad judges on the bench. I would tell you that Donald Trump is putting the worst judges ever on the bench. They changed the rules so you only need 51 votes to confirm a judge. And because of that, they don't need any Democratic support. And the people he's putting on the bench are overt racists, bigots, sexists, you name it. And I'm not saying that based on assumptions. I'm saying that on these candidates' writings and opinions that they have expressed on certain issues. And that, I think, is the biggest secret of the Trump presidency that people are not paying attention to, is who he's stacking the federal bench with. Those appointments are for life, and you start talking about very important issues. So now let's get into the Supreme Court. Kavanaugh is a big problem. We have come out with public opposition to him as the Congressional Black Caucus because we're very concerned about a number of his decisions. But most people articulated in, oh, we may lose Roe v. Wade. Well, the right to choose is a very important issue. However, we also could lose Brown versus Board of Education. We could lose Miranda in police circumstances where they have to read you your rights. Most of the gains that we made in this country as African Americans came through the court system, not the U.S. Congress. It came through the court system. And remember, we've not renewed the Voting Rights Act. So challenges to voting discrimination and barriers to voting and disenfranchisement now have to go straight to the courts because this Justice Department with Jeff Beauregard Sessions is not enforcing any of the voting rights laws. So I'm glad you brought it up, but we absolutely have to take back the Senate or reduce those numbers so that we can block the people that he's putting on the bench. They're unqualified, and most of them have issues with discrimination based on a whole bunch of factors.
Thank you so much, caller. Did that answer your question, caller?
Yes, but I have a follow-up question. And my follow-up question is, Councilman Richmond, what is it that we can do to get people to the polls in November?
Call your family and your friends. And even if they're not doing it for them, they really need to do it for their children. And I'm talking about the next couple of generations, not just infants now. I'm talking about kids not yet born will reap the negative ramifications of this presidency for decades to come if we don't stop them this November. So we just have to call and educate our friends to go out and participate. And I mean, I don't care where they live. And we don't have a Senate race up this time. But we have states around us that do. Mississippi, Tennessee, Nevada, Arizona. Those are all races that can be determined and by African American participation. So I would just say we just have to encourage our people to go vote like their life depends on it, because it might not be their life, but certainly their children's life depends on it.
Thank you so much, caller. We love you. Thank you for calling. We have to take another quick break, but we'll be back. You are listening to Church Without Walls with Dr. Anthony Williams and Charles Stewart. We'll be back.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.
And I want to encourage you to join Church Without Walls every Monday morning from 11 a.m. to 12 noon.
And we want to encourage you to promote God's plan and not man's plan. Don't you dare miss it.
Hello, this is Dr. Glenda E. Williams.
This is Charles Stewart. Dr. Anthony Williams.
Are you looking for a home to live stream your next event? Give us a call here at Bethesda Community Event Center, the only place on the Gulf Coast that can host and broadcast live your wedding reception, your baby shower, business seminar, and any other special event. Give us a call at 504-708-9454 for more details.
Oh, how the time flies. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best of literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there.
Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your...
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.
We are back. You are listening and watching Church Without Walls. Our studio guest is none other than the Honorable Cedric Richmond. And I got it correctly. I apologize for those who I guess so many people paid attention, some didn't. But anyway, I got it correct now. But anyway, the last caller, Congressman, had was talking about the judges. From my understanding, since President Trump been there, everybody say crazy and stupid, but somebody around him pretty smart to appoint all them judges. My understanding, I think he done appointed something like 89 judges, and out of 89, one of them African American. Understand me real clearly, listening audience. One of them is African American. I think the other is Hispanic, and the rest of them all white. So he got 87 of the people who he really wanted there, and I think all that arguing and fussing going on, calling people stupid little old man, but they passing that stuff every day. And that's why it's so important to put some people there who represent you. And Congress, I don't know, you can correct me or not, but from the information I got, he appointed like 89 judges on there. One of them is African American.
Well, the truth of the matter is I think it may be more than that, but only one African American, and out of all the U.S. attorneys that he is nominated, one is an African American. And when you start talking about issues that affect our community, prosecutorial discretion is a humongous one, because they decide whether that African American male gets charged with a marijuana possession or not. And a lot of our kids are getting marijuana convictions when 3 of the last 4 presidents all admitted that at one time in their life they tried marijuana.
Right.
And we know that the trajectory of an African American male or female with the conviction is increasingly more difficult to have an upward trajectory. And so if that Wall Street banker gets caught with marijuana, most of the time they just take the marijuana and send them on their way. But if it's a young African American male, in this instance, he's going to go to jail. He's going to get a record. And then all of a sudden he has employment barriers for the rest of his life. He can't get financial aid to go to college. He can't live in public housing. All of those barriers come up once you get a conviction, and it's that prosecutor that decides whether or not to charge a person, whether to put him in diversion, whether to show mercy or kindness or throw the book at him. And that's why we have such a mass incarceration problem in the United States. We incarcerate 2.2 million people, and we incarcerate more people than anywhere in the world per capita. So that's an issue that we've been working on. We finally moved it a little bit more on the state level. But on the federal level, we still have a ways to go. So that's why when you start talking about judges and you start talking about the U.S. attorneys that he appoints, it's a big deal.
Congressman, let's get another call. A call on line 1. Go ahead on call.
Hey, how y'all guys doing today? Good morning to you, Deacon Stewart, Dr. Williams, and thanks for stopping by today.
Go ahead, caller.
Congressman Cedric.
How
Can
you
you
doing?
guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Listen, I was listening on the show, and I just wanted to ask the congressman a question about what he was just talking about, and I just wanted to know if there was any research done in the state of Louisiana to decriminalize marijuana, and also what's his stand on using marijuana for recreational use. I'm gonna hang up and listen to you guys.
Well, thank you. Let me answer that in a couple ways. Louisiana has approved medicinal marijuana. They have not decriminalized it, and in my opinion, I don't think that movement will make its way through the state legislature anytime soon on marijuana. On a federal level, the Congressional Black Caucus, which I chair, we just put out a statement of principles on marijuana, one of which I agree with all of them. The first one, which is to decriminalize it, and which I just want to be technical. I don't want you to think I'm dodging your question. Decriminalize it is not the same thing as legalizing it. I think that the state should make that decision, but we should take it off of the federal schedule of drugs. It should not be a federal crime with marijuana. Also, in our principles, one, we think we need a very comprehensive restorative justice part of this. So for all of those people who have been convicted of marijuana offenses, we think their records should be expunged, one. And two, that as you create this new marijuana economy, that people who have been victims of the criminal justice system dealing with marijuana should be part of the people who now benefit from it. So, for example, California, what they said is that they want, out of the dispensaries, they want them to go to people who have been incarcerated for marijuana, for either personal use or distribution, because they want them now to be the benefits of this new legal marijuana in places like California. So we have a very comprehensive approach to how we deal with it. Now, my personal opinion about recreational use, I just don't think that, I think we still have a step or two to go. And let me just give you an example. I'm not sure yet if we have the capabilities to check impaired driving from marijuana use. And so when we consider our school children, when we consider pedestrians, when we consider other drivers, for DUI, it's very easy to check because you could do the blood test. But we don't have that technology readily available yet for marijuana. We should. And I think soon as we get that technology, you'll see some opinions start to change. And just like alcohol to an extent, it does affect the brain in ways, although it does have a medical purpose to it too. So I don't have a very strong opinion about it, but I will tell you that it is past time to decriminalize it and stop charging people, and especially giving them criminal records over marijuana. It should be on the civil side, and it should be up to states whether they want to legalize it or not. It should not be a federal crime, marijuana possession or distribution. So I hope that answered your question.
Okay, and the call that hung up, Congressman,
Okay.
and we also, for those who are watching, New Orleans Talk Network have a map of the Congressman District.
6636. So again, that's 202-225-6636, and that's the DC number, and they also can transfer you to any of the offices that you have. But we do have a local office that can do that also.
And also to our listening audience and people who watch us, understand that the congressman is a busy person. He travels all over the country, not just in New Orleans. When you is president of the Black Caucus, you everywhere. You in Florida, New York, name every state. So you may not can put hands on him, but he got capable people that work with him, and got people who love him, would help him. And we need to help him also, because, like I say, he can't do all by himself, but he coming on shows like this to try to let you know where he stand. And Congressman, I know you have to leave, but if you want to have a closing statement to those, I know it's important that they go vote, or whatever you want to have to say in a closing statement before you leave.
Well, no, let me just thank you all for what you're doing. I'd say that with all seriousness, because it's shows like this that get the information out. And yeah, during this time, it's not a friendly president. It's a president who view us in a very adversarial way, a president that prefers to cater to the rich and punish the poor. And I think that the more we can educate people, the better we'll be. And the people who will be hurt most by a Donald Trump presidency are the people who are least engaged. So when we do things like this, which is why I've committed to keep coming back, it educates people, and it makes a big difference, to tell you the truth. So thank you for what you're doing. And I would just say that it's a good thing the CBC has 48 members, because every day we have another 48 issues that this president creates. And what has been amazing to us is watch so many people vote against their self-interest and support this president. Although they may be poor themselves, he has convinced them that although they're poor, we're their enemy. And we have to make sure that we can get past some of that identity politics and get to some real issues, like the fact that the $20 billion that he wants to spend on a wall between here and Mexico, for $20 billion, we can end homelessness overnight. We can have a real anti-poverty plan.
Okay.
We could raise the minimum wage that would lift 14 million people out of poverty the day we raise the minimum wage. So those are things that we're fighting for. So I know a lot of times it's kind of hard for people to, in their own little life, in their own big life, make the connection of why bother voting, why bother on the federal level. Well, we control a lot of things, and we just have to make sure we do a good job of articulating those things that we want to do for families. But I would encourage everybody to go either to my website or the CB Congressional Black Caucus website so that you can see the legislation we've introduced, the issues we're fighting for, and all of those things. But with that, let me just thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Just before you leave, Cedric, you said you gave us some information pertaining to people wanting to get in touch with you, some people that they could contact. Would you give them that information again?
If you're in the West Bank of Jefferson Parish or in Jefferson Parish, DeShannon Cobb Russell is the person to contact. You can call the district office, which is 288-3777, and which is probably the best number to use, and they can transfer you to any of the other offices, and it's the easiest to remember. So 288-3777.
And if you have any problem reaching Congressman, call the New Orleans Talk Network. We got the most friendly people in the world. You can call me. I run somebody down who, if I can't catch up with him, I would call his office then every now and then.
Me, so it's okay.
Okay, yeah, right. So we want to thank the Congressman again, and we thank the listening audience. And for those that couldn't get in, we apologize. And look, you'll be able to talk to him next time. The day not the only day that he committed to come once a month and be on the show. So you'll get in next time. So to all of those that are listening and watching, we thank you, and we want to thank the Honorable Congressman once again for coming in and being a part of a Church Without Walls. And remember that everyone out there, remember you are the church. And if you just will remember how important that you are, and you is somebody special, we is the person that look up to our congressman for his leadership, and we thank him for it. And Congressman, I want to personally thank you for your leadership. And on the behalf of Church Without Walls, we always tell our listening audience, it's no such thing as being half dead. If you're dead, you're dead. That's it. See y'all next week. Love you. That's it.
Kick it for me one time.
What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth.
Or as important as our guests, join in on the conversation. 504-341